Hey, what's up? This is Paul Solt. This is going to be sort of a dev live video of me talking about what I am working on in some apps. So I've got my coffee here and we're going to get started with some app development. I'm going to go behind the scenes. So for a long time, several years, I've been wanting to update my iPhone app from iOS 7 to, I guess, iOS 11. And I haven't done that. And now I really have a situation where I have to do that because it's not on the App Store anymore for iOS 11 users. So I need to update it. We're going to learn how to do that. But basically, it's an app that creates genetic art. And it creates this artwork. I've printed it on metal print. So I've got this, this metal print right here behind me. And I've expoed at different art galleries and coffee shops. So it's been kind of cool to work on this app. And I need to get it working in the App Store because I can't demo any of my apps right now because they don't work. So I've got a little devlog here I'm going to do in Markdown. I need to get the code from GitHub. I haven't actually downloaded it on my new Mac in a long time, so I need to grab that, try to get this working in Xcode 9, and then figure out what I need to do to get this working. So I'm going to be using a combination of either the Markdown, or I'll create some things in manuscript. So I'm using this to sort of track what I'm working on. And I have no idea how. It might take 4 hours. It might take less. So I'm going to just put 4 hours for my estimate for how much. I'm only planning on working in this for about an hour today at most. So you'll see something like that for the video. All right, so let's go get started. And just to give you some background. So where this started was a Mac app. I did this for a genetic algorithms class where I created images using math equations. So I created this complex system that could mutate and basically do sexual reproduction with images and math. And then I rendered those images and we get all of these funky images. Then I put it onto iPhone with iOS 4. And this is what it first looked like. And now I have to update it. And just looking at this, it's reminding me of some things that might need to be updated. At the time, collection views wasn't in existence, so I actually had to write my own image view that looks like this. So that was fun. The first month was really cool. I made over $100 the first day, and then it continued to make money over $500 that first month after Apple's cut. So that's the app. In its lifetime, it's so far made $2,500, but it's kind of hit this ceiling because no one can buy it anymore and it doesn't work. So we're going to get this to work on iOS 11. So if I show you, this is the App Store link. So you'll see this little crazy guy. I drew this guy and then I had my friend Christy color it in. So that is Artwork Evolution. It's got this panel. I got to take this panel out. I liked it at the time, but it's really confusing and it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to remove that panel, focus just on the collection view. And I might need to rewrite that from scratch. I don't really know. But if we do, we'll be using a collection view, so it should be pretty simple. Cross my fingers. There's a lot of complexity and stuff that's sort of tightly coupled because this was my first app. So not everything is as good as it should be, but we'll see what the situation looks like. So let's jump into code. I need to grab this from GitHub. So I've got a private repository on GitHub for this. I'm just going to clone that, and we'll see if we can open it up. So I'll open it in the desktop app. So if I click this, that'll pull open the app here, and then I'm going to go into my dev folder. I think I will just put it right here in the top level. So dev is just in my user account, and we'll wait for that to download. So I've got some unit tests for the C++. I'm probably not going to worry about that. That's all for the underlying algorithm, and I really want to rewrite that in Swift using the faster stuff. So that's something I might explore in the future. That would be fun to do, and we'll see what happens. All right. Apparently I've got a lot of images and stuff in here. So GitHub Desktop is nice, but I actually like SourceTree better. So I use GitHub Desktop just to grab things, but then when I'm working on something, I use SourceTree. And this has an update. I'll remind me later. I'll worry about that later. All right, so SourceTree is nice because I should be able to open a project And I just go to open. Once we get this in here, I can pull this open so you can sort of see how it looks here. Just to track commits. So this is version control that I'm using to keep track of my software. This is better than copying and pasting your project. And let's jump over to my dev folder. We're going to look for artwork evolution. And I just open this up and we can see everything. So 2 different views of the files. This one is just harder to see the actual changes, so I don't like it as much. And I'm remembering I have some flags for the App Store release versus dev versions, which is nice. Adding some project properties, Xcode 5 update. Now I've got to get it to work on Xcode 9. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so that is here. So I can just close that. So SourceTree I just like because I can view the different things. One of the things I'm going to be showing you is Git flow. So as I work on this, what I'm actually going to do is just create a new branch. And I can do that here. Again, I use a bunch of different things, but I generally work in terminal. So I'm going to just work in terminal here. And let's go ahead, resize this a little bit. So I'll be showing you a couple different things. So terminal is really important. LS will show you your files. I'm going to cd into dev, which means change directory. Within here, we're going to look for artwork evolution. If I do git status, this is a git command. I can see that I'm on the branch master. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a branch. So I'll do git branch, and then we'll call this Xcode 9. And I'll check that out. And there's steps to do this all in one, but I'm just going to manually do this. So these are some commands that you can play around with. This is working with Git. I do like to do it on command line a little bit. It's nice to also have this. We're going to see that as I'm working on this, we will see that we now have a branch called Xcode 9, which is this, and then the master. And I'm going to be showing you Git flow as a way for working on features without trashing the master. So master currently only works on iOS 7. Well, actually, it works on iOS 10. So if you have that, you can still download it from the App Store. But I'm going to just jump in there, see what's going on, and I'll provide some commentary after what I see. All right, so got a whole Xcode project. I think it's Artwork Pad was the original name as I was testing it out. There's a bunch of test projects in here. And it's really hard. I'm just going to open this. So I'll just say open dot. That'll give me Finder, and I can find the project. Ooh, we're going to have to take out a bunch of dependencies like Flurry or update them. Got some analytics in here that were helping me understand how people were actually using the app. I was just trying to understand flow to make sure that people found features, and I discovered a lot about that. So I've got different collections of images, and if we jump into one of these, let's go into my Jobin collection. I want to open as, what is this? Is this a, I think it's a P list, but I should be able to open it in something like TextMate. And I don't know why it's not sorted. Okay. Keyed Archiver. Awesome. Super fun. So I got a bunch of metadata. Here is an equation for one of the images in that sort of probably that blue sequence. So it's kind of interesting. And we need to get this to work. So let's see what this is going to do. I'm going to switch this over to iPhone 8. We're going to build it, see what happens. I mean, this could be as simple as just like rebuilding and then submitting to the App Store, but it's really going to depend on if anything is broken. All right, so it built. So maybe this isn't as hard as I thought, or it is. All right, so we're gonna have to update the project settings. So that was telling me that I need to, so I'm gonna cross my fingers and just perform changes. We've made the branch, so I can always go back and we'll see what happens. Looks like there's more settings to update, so I'll perform those changes. I have multiple projects in here. Continue. All right, so it's talking about the architecture, and I'm gonna have to change something for that. Interesting. So I got some of my C++ code is generating warnings. So these are new warnings that are telling me certain things are happening. Some of them I can get rid of by just casting, and some of them so I'm going to need some new app icons. So I'm going to have to export. Looks like I need to just re-export this icon. And got some deprecations. Those are going to be fun to fix. I'm going to set a timer. All right, so this is another app I'm working on. I'm just going to put this in the bottom corner. This is going, let's focus on setting a 20-minute timer, see how far we get, and then decide what to do after that timer goes off. All right, so the first thing is trying to update the architecture. I'm going to have to change this. Let's make this iOS 11. See if that gives us any new suggestions or changes. Looks like I'll have to set this here as well. Cool, it's starting. We'll see if it crashes or if it works. Ooh, that doesn't look good. What was that? All right, looks like I'm doing some kind of UI thing on the background thread. But it looks like it's related to Flurry Analytics, so maybe updating that would be beneficial. So this was a interesting UI that I created where you could just sort of throw things around. I'm going to remove it just because it's really confusing, and you basically just drop things in, and it might not even be working. And it's supposed to throw new images onto the screen, but I'm not seeing it do anything. It's doing a bunch of renders. So these are all renders at 256 by 256, and there we have a new image. So I don't know if it was stuck doing some stuff. These are brand new images. No one's ever seen these before that it's throwing out. So it's kind of an interesting interface, but it is very confusing for users. When I've watched them use it, they don't get it. So I'm going to remove that. I want to focus on this interface, which is going to just be collections of images. This is a lot better. This has some rendering. I'm probably not going to update this unless it's crashing. I don't know if I have any up. The selection mechanism is a little bit hard, and some of the UI is a little bit funky, but I think I just want to try and get this working first, and then if it's really not working well, then I'll change some stuff. So this is what the images will generally look like when I'm just starting. It looks very basic. And then what I can do is I can select images and start morphing them. We're having some issues with the text not all fitting down at the bottom, so that's something that needs to be fixed. Does a lot of rendering in the background for these images. It does a first pass, which is a low res, and then it does a higher pass. So as I sit here, we might see some of these images update. We might not. moving around triggers different updates, and if it's already done, the high render. So if I cancel, select this image, we're going to see sometimes it gets enhanced over time and when that spinny thing is going. Also, some other features in here, I can save this image to my collection. I can save it to my photo library, and I can stretch it. So this is how I've created background art, but I didn't render the large version. Looks like that caused a crash, so that's something I'm going to have to fix. Okay. So I'm going to remove the coffee table feature and focus on the collections list. Then I've got some kind of issue with saving, got a SIG abort, saving to my photo library. The API is probably changed or something like that. Or I don't. Oh, I don't. Okay, so there's this new permissions that I don't conform to. So I'll just include that here. Markdown's really nice because I can do a code block. So I'll just throw that in right there. And if I ever want to render this and make it look pretty, then I can do something like this and we can sort of see how things look. All right. I do have a lot of print statements that I never turned off, which make it a little bit hard to see what's going on. So I need some kind of permission. So I guess let's see if we can fix this one. In my project settings, I'll click on this, go into Artwork Evolution. Then under info, it wants some new tag. So if I can't figure this out, I'm gonna have to search it online. But I need to add a row. See if we can find something like this. Privacy. This is a string. Saves new artwork to your Okay, so let's try running that again. We'll go in and test that behavior. And I do need to get rid of this screen, so that's another thing to do. So if I stretch this one out. Okay, so this is where I have to ask permission. So this is where I might need logic. So this is going to be a new feature. Notify the user we need permissions. And I might not need to do this, but in the ideal case, I would recommend that you do this with your app. So notify we need permissions to save photos. So it's generally a good feature to have like an onboarding where you tell them, okay, this is why I need it. If they say don't allow, what's going to happen? That's something we'll have to test. So let's keep it easy for now. I'll just hit OK. When I do that, we can see it stretched that out. So we have this cool, funky background. So that's kind of a lot of the times what I use this for. And then in settings, you can go in and I don't know if I can set it here. But on an actual iPhone, you should be able to set the background image. I'm not seeing it. Okay. So what will it take to clean up my starting screen? It's been a while since I looked at this code. I have some special logic in here also for rendering high-res images. So the artwork collection view controller might be what I'm looking for. I'll just jump to its definition. Looks like it. I've got an evolve box timer, so that's looking like that's the strange view. So ideally, I could just cut that out and make the I'm gonna comment that out too. This is the iRater thing. I don't think I can use it like that as is. If I want to ask for reviews using new review API. So what I'm going to have to do is figure out like what a priority is for some of these. Some of these I'm going to want to do. Others, I just want to get this on the store as quickly as possible. And I'm going to sort of punt them for another time. So picker one, I believe, is what I want for the photo view controller. And this is Objective-C code. So this is a little old. It's a little messy. I didn't clean it up as probably I would if I was writing it again. I'm going to just get rid of this line. So let's comment this out. So a lot of times I'll comment out a line. Maybe I'll copy it and write it again. And then when I have something working, I'll get rid of it. So I don't know if I want picker one or if I want the photo view controller. I think the photo view controller is the full screen view. It also depends on if the artwork view controller was doing any kind of logic. I'm going to jump to definition on this. No. I'm probably not going to see anything if I don't set up and initialize these correctly, and I think these get initialized. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so that's not it. I think we're closer with the picker one. It's just a matter of making sure that it has access to the evolution logic. And I don't remember if I put that into this initializer. That didn't work. We're going to have to dig through what's going on in here. So does this hold on to... I'm trying to find where I actually move to the other type of UI. One of the things I can do to investigate, so if you've never worked with the code base before, what I would recommend is, so it's not as clear to me as what's going on, I'm going to just run it normally. I'm going to set a breakpoint or something when what is the albums connected to? Maybe we need to jump into the user interface. Do I have a user interface? Or is this all done programmatically? You can see there's a lot of code files. So a lot of times when you're working on an app, it's trying to figure out where things are going. And so I get this to render all the top rated images because that's what gets populated on the screen. And I have an option here to show the tutorial. So I'm probably going to have to pull that out. So this wasn't the most ideal way of building this interface. And it looks like I have a lot of logic that jumps back to the AppDelegate, which is also not ideal, but I think that's where I put a lot of the image evolving logic. So maybe when I showed the view, I just need to tell it to start going. So I have the image source delegate, which means that this delegate message allows me to request an image for the picker. So that's how I get the new render. Where does the evolution take place? Was that all in my app delegate? There's a lot of stuff in here. Got crash detection. Trying to pull this out might be more work than I want to do, so I might keep it in if it's going to be that challenging. But again, it's just going to require some time to dig into what the code's doing and see what's going on. Because I believe I need to set the image source delegate on the image picker. Equal to self. Do I need to set the image source? Oh, we need semicolons in Objective-C. Oh, crap. I'm wondering if this has multiple views and I'm doing this wrong. Okay, so my timer just went off. I'm just going to start that up again. I think I might need to keep this because there's a lot of UI stuff. So it's not exactly what I thought. I think I'm just going to have to disable the mode within the artwork collection view rather than what I thought in the AppDelegate. So we're going to go back to that. I'm going to just delete that, uncomment that. I'm going to not do either of those. We need to find how I toggle between those modes. And if or where I have a UI file. No storyboards in this, so it's all XIB files. And what do we have in here? All right, so that's my page view controller. This is my tutorial screen. So I've got auto layout potentially. Yes, I have auto layout set up for this. Remember, I had to enable auto layout when I went to update this for iOS 7. And then in here, there's a little info thing. And I would totally do this differently now. But it worked, so I guess that's the good thing. Okay, so let's go back to the artwork pad. So in here, there is a toggle GUI. All right, so this is making more sense. So I think this is in it. So I'll do Command-Shift-F to search the entire project. We're going to look for this toggle GUI, and I see that up here. So that's the albums button. Okay, that's what we want. That's old code I don't need anymore. They're going to tell me this is deprecated. So we hit the update buttons. Okay, so that is no longer necessary since I've realized I was doing it wrong. I have to update the buttons to non-bordered. So in order to get rid of that, we can probably use this. Does this have a fix-it? Wants me to use this plain style. So if I do that, we should see that it gets updated and that warning goes away. So I've got a bunch of warnings. I've got, 223 warnings. That's annoying. A lot of it looks like it might be with my C++ code. Okay, so we need some icons. Did I put that in this list? The icons should be easier. I use Icon Kit. And then I want to figure out first, though, how to get this to default. That's what I'm looking for. Ah, nice. This hide coffee table GUI. We're going to say yes. We don't want this. All right, so that's in my constants file. Yes is just like true in Swift. All right, much better. That was more work than I thought it would be. But it's no, don't do that. Okay, so it just loaded all the albums. This is actually interesting though, because you can see the Joe Bean art. So these are all the images that I rendered for the Joe Bean collection. A lot of them, and this might be more. So I picked the best ones out of these collections and I printed them. I think I printed that one. And I actually gave that to my advisor. This is on my keychain. This one's super fun. All right, so now I've got all of these albums I didn't really want, but that's okay. I'm not sure what the color. I think I'm playing with the colors. I'm probably gonna make this go to a light theme. It's a little hard to read right now. Well, that's no good. It looks like the play tutorial crashes. So anytime you see a crash like this, you just want to go to the very top of the error. I don't know what that's talking about. So it looks like something was set to set description, and I need to find where page data is used, which is like all over the place. I was on the play tutorial. Got a lot of assembly code. Set a breakpoint down here. So this is for the play tutorial index of that action sheet that popped up. And it's probably going to tell me to UI action sheet, migrate to UI alert controller with UI alert controller style action sheet. Another thing that's been deprecated, so one more thing to fix. Okay, so the app is running, so let's see what happens when I click on show tutorial. Okay, so we're at our breakpoint. I'm going to step into it. So using this little button down here, we can step in. Here, this is going to create the page controller. I can step into this to see what this is going to do. Here's all the logic for creating a page controller. If I see, here's page data description. So this might be where it's crashing. So if we just step over. So basically, I build these in memory. Jump to definition. Set to copy, which is what I need for Objective-C. And wait, oh, what's going on with this? Oh, this might be a conflict with the language itself. I think NSObject has a description property, so I might have been clashing with that, which is really interesting. Yep. And this is a read-only property, so that's probably why it's crashing. So if I jump back, and we go to where the current execution is, which is this line. So this is the stack frame. And so we can sort of drill in. So we started here with the breakpoint. We drilled in. Right here, this is a read-only property. And watch and see what happens. I'll step over. And we have that crash. All right, so I just need to call this something else. So that's a quick fix. So that's really funny that I didn't pick this up before. So that's conflicting with the NSObjects description method. When you work on stuff like this, if you just keep a log of what you're working on, it's really useful to know what's going on. John Carmack did this, and he would have a list of tasks to work on. So I'm basically building up a list of tasks that I can work on next time and sort of figure out and give me some context. I think I'll try and fix this up, and then I want to work on the other stuff. So let's make a fixed, and we'll just move anything down there that we fix. All right, so I did that one. And I originally had that feature in there, but we had to remove the button to load collections, hide with another constant, not the... So the K means a constant, and so that's the thing we use in Objective-C, but I'm not using that as much anymore in Swift. All right, so if I jump back, I can navigate back to where we were. This needs to be refactored. Can I refactor it? I'm going to stop with command period, and I want to jump to definition of this. So this title, let's call it like the subhead or something. And let's see if I can refactor this. Of course, this might not. Oh, it's working. But it wants to refactor all the other ones that I don't want it to. And this is because it's clashing with the NS image. So what I can do is I can turn off some of these. So I can turn off this one just by removing it. Well, this one we do. This is not related, not related, not related. I think that one's related. Yeah. So now I can just write whatever I want. So I want to call this subhead. We build that again. Go ahead and run, and I can probably turn off the breakpoint. So if I want to jump to the breakpoint, this is the breakpoint. You can see I only have one breakpoint here. So I'm just going to disable it on the show tutorial screens, and it actually just popped up itself. So that's actually kind of cool because it crashed, I think. It defaults to popping up or something. Got a little video here. That video has been viewed a ton of times. It's just embedded in the app, and it was just a screen cap. So I'm going to have to update that. All right. So we made some progress. That's good. It didn't crash. We have to test to make sure that we can pull that up again. But I'll hit the done. If I go here, go to play tutorial, pops up. So this is the description method that was conflicting. I don't know how I got that to compile before, but Objective-C didn't do a whole lot of checking, so there's new checks that are warning me that things are different. So just looking at this, actually I don't really have to update any of these images. If I keep the interface the same, that could be nice. Though I think I do have the PSDs if I do need to update these. The video needs to be updated, so we'll hit done. I don't know how to make this more interesting unless I like render some of the images in the background. But it's probably fine if it's plain. It would be more easy to understand. I have to turn off that top rated. I wonder if this is that defined in my scheme? Okay, because it's not set to App Store release, that's why that's showing up. So if I set that to App Store release here, I don't know why I use a define here. Cleanup will pull stuff out and remove images so it re-renders. This is in case you lose some of the data so that the app size doesn't grow. So I could hit cleanup. You'll see that all the images would disappear, or potentially this fails. So that's a good thing to check. Make sure it doesn't crash. I have seen crashes and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm on the albums. Yeah, I actually don't want that button to show anything. So that's one of the other things we need to do. I'll just jump back. So that's fine. We just don't want this left bar button because I don't want that coffee table UI anymore. Awesome. So it's super fun. I can take an image like this, which is one of my renders. I can do a high res render. So if I click on this, I might want to change this, but I mean, it works. This is going to spin a little bit. I probably would change how this actually functions, but it's going to render at a higher resolution. I don't know what resolution it's defaulting to right now. It might be based on the screen size. And then if I wanted to, I could save this to my photo library. Now, if I save it as original, it doesn't get stretched. If I save it to my photo library as stretched, what we see is when we jump back over here to photos, we'll see the original image unstretched, and here it's stretched. So I only made this so that it would fit whatever the screen size was, which is kind of nice. But it does distort. So if you want to set this as your background and you want to zoom in on an aspect of it, then you might not want to stretch it. All of my prints, for the most part, are unstretched prints. What did I click on? Okay, so we run this again. I've got to remove a bunch of warnings. But right now I want to work on okay, so we fixed that. Let's work on We're going to have to figure out the C++ ones, remove warnings, Objective-C, remove deprecations. Let's work on the app icon. So I use Dropbox for everything. And in Dropbox, we're going to find under areas, I have an apps folder. This is for all of my apps, either in progress or some that never saw the light of day. And in here, I should have the Artwork Evolution. And I've probably got 3 folders because I didn't really organize it very well when I got started. And hopefully, app icons. Oh, maybe I don't have this. No, there's a large render. So we'll just grab that guy. And let's finish this up, and then I think I'll call it a day for working on this. So this is Icon Kit. You can find it on the Mac App Store. I like it a lot, but there's actually another one that I started using, which is Icon Set Creator. So I actually might use Icon Set Creator. I don't remember which one I liked better. But what we can do is we can just drag this over, and if I drag it to both of them, this will show me a preview. So I'll click that, and we can sort of see how these look. And what's it doing? I need that, not Mac. It needs to be iPhone, iPad. Okay, so let's save. I do not want the icons rounded, so just make sure that's unchecked. And I'm going to make this, put it into my app folder. So under Dropbox, areas, apps. Create a new folder in here for the icon. Export. So here it is. Potentially, I can just drag and drop this. And now I have all of the different icon sizes, so I can just sort of preview this and see those. So let's jump back over here. We'll go to the asset catalog, which is somewhere. I need to change my launch image. It's another thing. So one of the things I should be able to do is drag this in, and that will automatically work. And then for whatever reason, this one, the XML wasn't defined correctly. So now I've got all the icons. I can go ahead and I can delete this one since this was back for iOS 7, so it didn't need all the other icons. So if I hit just delete that, and I can rename this app icon so it matches, and we'll clean and then build. And let's see what this is. So this is what's causing that background issue. That's my Flurry Analytics, and there's a newer version that I would probably need to integrate in order to get that to work. So I have like this old version. I don't even know how old this is. 2012, 4.3. If I go on to, I think Yahoo bought them. Here you can see the one image I saved. I don't like it, I can delete it. Just see if that works. Add to table needs to be removed. I think this is my help. So I'm just like doing a search for this. I'm just going to delete it entirely. If I were to build it, it'll probably fail. Somewhere in here is where I actually set all these buttons up. It's all done programmatically, and I'm not seeing it. Okay, this is it. Okay, so I'm just going to take this completely out since I don't plan on using it ever again. Just got to clean up any reference to it. By removing it, that's going to help me also find any if I miss them. I have to remove it from this list. This is how it was actually getting onto the screen. I don't think I need 2 flex bar button items in a row. I'll just clean that up. So there's just 3 buttons or 2 buttons and 1. So that was just for spacing that I had all that. I dynamically update the counts of the number of images that are selected. So that's why there's all this like weird logic. For titles. No results. Let's build it. So I might update or remove Flurry. I don't know what I want to do with that. So there's a bunch of places where I'm logging events of when people do certain things, just so I can sort of see the flow of information in the application. So that's probably something I'll do after this, just because there's some API keys, and I don't need to show you that while I work on it. All right. So that's all I have. If you found this interesting, sort of walking through what I have here, let me know. I'm going to just real quickly test this on my iPhone, because one of the goals of this whole thing was to just get this working on my iPhone again. So I'm going to plug in my iPhone. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can do it Wi-Fi. So here's my iPhone. I just need to unlock it. And let's run it. Cross our fingers. So as you can see, I've got a ton of issues to go through still, which is a little overwhelming. This app was first created in 2010. So it's been 7 years since I started it, which is a long time. And it wants my provisioning profile. So that's probably changed in the time that I've worked on this. I go to general. Interesting. Download. All right. Have my profiles already set up. What does it want? Oh, automatically. That's what I need. Enable automatic. So this is a new feature. There we go. I want Paul Salt. And cross our fingers. Might work. Gotta make sure it's unlocked. Actually, if I plug this in, I might be able to show you my screen. But I'm not seeing it install it. Oh man, so many deprecations. Wow. Wow. Oh, there it goes. It's installing. Or no, it's not. It's updating another app. That's not mine. So build failed. Why did it fail? That's another task to do. So I don't have the launch storyboard files because this is so old. So I need to change from launch images to launch storyboard. We got the icon updated. All right, so something's not working, and it could be I need to quit Xcode and open it up again. I'm going to probably try that if this does not work. And let's see what Flurry says. All right, so some people are still using my older apps. This is Photo Table. I doubt anyone's using Artwork Evolution. I don't even know which one might be the paid one. It might just be me or someone on the other side of the world at 4 a.m. Unless time is not accurate. So there's somewhere in here where I can download the new API, and that'll probably fix my issues with Flurry. Just change this to super easy apps. Don't know. All right, so what did we find? One warning, just show me the error. So I'll just click this little thing to show me the error. I'm getting a linker error. Yeah, it's the Flurry stuff. So I've got to stop that. It's not bitcode enabled, so that is going to be a stopping block for me to get this working. So that's something I'm going to work on. Once I find out how to download the API, which I cannot seem to figure out because they've changed their UI again. But if you want to track how people are using your applications, this is a good way to do it. I've learned a lot, and it's been helpful to understand okay, so 7.2, I'm on 4. Something. It looks like I have to go through a whole slew of steps here to get this to work. All right, so I'll deal with that next time, or after I finish this up. I might play around with it. I really want to get this on my iPhone. And that's the last stopping block. So if this was interesting and you want to see more, I know I didn't really cover anything except sort of trying to triage and find things and sort of showing you how I'm working. So I've got this here. We've got the GitHub open. What I'm going to do in GitHub is just commit my changes. So I've done a bunch of different changes. Typically, I wouldn't do this all as one commit. I'd like to separate it. For this, it was just kind of like trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm not going to do all these different commits. So if I do git status here, we'll see that I've got all these files modified. A lot of times when I try to do it in Xcode, so Xcode does have it built in. If I do Command Control C, it will let me commit stuff. A lot of times it doesn't always pick up file changes, especially with like icons. So that may or may not work. And if that's the case, I'm better off usually committing on command line. So I'll just do git add star. And if we do git status, see there's a couple things that didn't get added because I'm down in a bottom directory. So I'm just going to go up one. This is how I've just organized stuff. So I'll just add star, or you can do git add, I think, -u for anything that has changed. So if I do git status, I should see all green. That means it's picked up everything, which is what I want. And then I'll do a commit with a message, so -m, and updated to Xcode 9. Lots of warnings to fix. Need to update Flurry SDK to run on iPhone. Follow steps online. What else do we do? Removed the coffee table UI on start. Moved references to add to the table. All right, so that's what I do. You put that in quotes, press enter, it commits it. Then I can push this if I want to push this stream so that I have it backed up, which is really important. So I'll do git push set upstream origin Xcode 9. So I typically do a git pull just out of habit. A lot of stuff we did there. And over on GitHub Desktop, you'll see that I have no changes left. You'll see that I'm on this new branch. It's called Xcode 9. This is the list of branches. This is pushed on the server. I can also see the stuff in SourceTree. We can see a commit here. All right, so that's a start, and I guess I'll see you next time. So check in next week if you want to learn more about just working on apps, the overall flow, working through issues and stuff like that as I update my apps for iOS 11 and then start to work again on my coffee app. All right, so have a great day and like the video if you enjoyed it, and hit the subscribe button over my head somewhere if you want to get updates on new videos. I'll catch you later.